Hey y'all, I'm back. It's been a minute. Um, I just wanted to make a video to say hello and to offer you all an update since my last video on how I got canceled from social media for speaking the truth. And I also wanted to share a couple of exciting updates with you guys that you can engage with. Um, and I wanted to talk a little bit about my journey and how I've been navigating this paradigm of um, intense online censorship for women like myself. And cancel culture is how I navigate all of that as an artist and someone who is actively building her audience online. Yeah. So let's get into it. First of all, first update I wanted to share. So, as some of you may know, I got canceled from Instagram and Facebook, and there was like this massive wipeout of my presence on social media um, back in April. And that same day that I woke up and saw that all of my accounts were gone, I started a blog, and I also made a video that same week called I've Been Canceled. That's still up on my YouTube channel. That same day that I woke up and found out that my accounts were gone, I went ahead and made a blog. I made a blog on Substack, and I started re uploading the posts that, I presume may have contributed to me getting canceled, although they weren't actually the tipping point. The tipping point was actually something that was me just sharing videos of other women's stories that went against the status quo. But yes, I made a blog on Substack. I started posting there, and when I made that YouTube video to share, about my story of getting canceled, I also linked to my blog and talked about it. That was when I was first starting it, and I didn't have that much content on there. And I appreciate those of you who subscribed and you've been here to see my journey this whole time. But for those who haven't, I just wanted to share that my blog is still up. I am posting regularly on there. I've posted a lot of content in the past 4 months, and I'm a very active user. And I'm funneling a lot of energy into really building up my blog into my main platform. So it's kind of like a revival of kind of like the similar energy of how I did YouTube many years ago, where I'm sharing my life journey and also some controversial opinions. And there's a mix of content that I talk about with like wellness and healing and political stuff and just social observations and just sharing my perspective on some different things that a lot of people are scared to talk about. So if you haven't checked out my blog, please check it out. Please subscribe. And for those of you who are able to, please consider becoming a paid subscriber so you can support my work. That's very important for some reasons I'm going to talk about later on in this video. But the link is in the description. Yeah, I'll be happy to have you there and to join the community. So the other update that I wanted to share is that I was recently interviewed by a international women's rights organization called Women's Declaration International. I was interviewed by the Black Women's Caucus in the USA branch, the Women's Declaration USA, or WDI USA, by the founder of the Black Women's Caucus. This is an organization that speaks up for women's sex-based rights. So, women's rights being based on our biological sex, not gender identity, and really pushing back against laws that obscure the unique vulnerabilities that women face as a result of our biological sex within these new gender identity laws that are being created where anyone can identify as a woman, and meaning men, men can identify as women and gain access to spaces where women are vulnerable to them, and how that's being actively taken advantage of in, women's prisons, in locker rooms and restrooms and all sorts of different spaces. And so this is just one of the main issues that WDI speaks about, as well as the Black Women's Caucus talks about how these issues uniquely affect Black women. And so they came onto my work, and because I, got canceled for speaking up about Black women I got canceled for speaking up about Black lesbian detransitioners on my Instagram, and they interviewed me, and we had an amazing, very powerful discussion that is now posted online. I'm going to link you guys to that in the description as well. Check it out. It's a really insightful conversation. We have the founder of the Black Women's Caucus, Lorraine, and Dr. Suzanne Forbes-Vierling, who's also very knowledgeable about these issues. They both interviewed me, and we had a really wonderful, very insightful discussion. So please check that out and share it with anyone who you think would be interested. I wanted to talk about, my involvement with social media and where I'm at, and how I've been recovering and, finding my way amidst really realizing that, all of a sudden my voice and what I have to share is not welcome on social media platforms. So that's why this video, I called it I'm Too Hot for TV, because really, I love the concept of social media. Like y'all know, some of y'all have been subscribed to me for years. I've been on YouTube. I've been a YouTube creator since 2008. So some people have been subscribed to me for more than a decade. And so I appreciate having these tools at my disposal, but now I've reached a crossroad where I don't feel like these tools are welcoming to my presence anymore. And so in light of creating this blog, and having a platform where I can talk about things, having a website where I can write about things, I also need to have a space where people can, find my work and discover my work. And usually people, whether they're entrepreneurs or artists or content creators, what have you, they'll use social media to get their voice out there. But in my case, I don't feel like social media is very, social media has proven itself to not be welcoming to the things that I have to write about, which are critical issues, which are issues that affect me and women across the world every day. And they're very serious things. And so there's a huge lockdown on freedom of speech going on that is being perpetuated by big tech companies, Google, which, Google owns YouTube, and Instagram, Facebook, which are the same thing. And Twitter used to be very censorious, but now I think because of, Elon Musk now owning the platform and being, I guess, a little bit more politically moderate, there isn't as much censorship over some of the things that I have to say about, like, pushing back against gender ideology. But, I've just realized that, where do I go? I'm constantly asking myself this question of where do I go and how do I platform my voice? I have thought about, the prospect of using YouTube as a means to promote my blog and to come back on here and make a comeback and start talking shit, start, really actually creating controversial videos the way that I used to. And I haven't done that. And the reason why is, well, part of it is because I'm careful about, how I fill up my plate. I don't want to fill up my plate with too many different types of content. But the other thing for me is that, I'm not trying to get my YouTube channel shut down. There's still things that I want to do with this channel. This channel is a great space for me to be able to upload, content that's related to my dancing. But also I have a treasure trove of videos for the past, like 15 years that I actually want to create work around. Like I would like to, I'm in the process of like actually digging up those videos, and I want to create an anthology where people can read my written responses to those old videos. That's something that I'm going to release on my blog and on my website. But I want to actually have my channel available so I can do that research and pull from those videos. And I can't do that if they just shut down my channel. So, there's still some things, this channel contains a lot of history for me. And I don't know that, I definitely don't want this channel shut down if I can help it, because of that. But also in thinking about creating a new channel, I don't even know if that's worth it. Like, creating a new Instagram account and trying again and starting out all over again, even though all my 10 years of work, of precious curation that was specifically for those platforms, for Instagram, all of that was wiped out in overnight over some bullshit. And I don't want to do that to myself anymore. When I really invest in a platform, I really give to it. I really give it my effort. I'm very strategic. I'll learn about it. I'll learn about the algorithm. I'm willing to do all of that. But I'm not willing to do that for a platform that has proven itself to be untrustworthy and unwelcoming to creators like myself who push the envelope. These platforms like YouTube and Instagram and stuff, they're all about like the kind of like floofy, superficial, really watered down idea of radical thought and diversity. They're not really with it. Okay. And so if you go to my blog and you check out what kinds of topics I'm writing about, and you see the titles alone, if I were to create a video version of something like that, my channel would be shut down. And that's why I keep everything on my blog. So I wanted to clue you guys in that I am creating content, and I can see myself also creating video content in the future, but my shit is too hot for TV. YouTube is TV. My shit is too hot for this platform, like in its raw form. And so, and I'm not willing to create a watered down version of what I really think just to be able to promote it and get eyes on it. That's not me. So I've been really thinking about what kinds of ways I can really put my voice out there. And thankfully, having allyship with certain women's rights organizations that do have a platform, and who haven't been canceled yet, that has been helpful to me. But, honestly, I'm thinking in the long run, and on a sustainable level, what kind of rhythm in terms of, giving people the option to discover me is actually worth my energy. I've thought about, I've started researching SEO. For those who don't know, SEO is basically, in simple terms, when you search for something on Google or any search engine, but Google, everyone Googles stuff, what's the first thing that comes up? That's going to be the thing that you're most likely to click on, isn't it? That's that website that you see first, that website or that video on YouTube, that has good SEO. That's what SEO is. And there's a whole strategy that's very technical to be able to boost your website or your video to be able to be at the top or be on the first page of what people see, because most people are not trying to dig. Most people are trying to get, they're trying to access what's first, and so I was like, let me learn SEO. And I know, some things about SEO now that I'm implementing. But, when you really look at it, most people use Google, right? And Google is very censorious. So it's interesting because when you research for, when I did this multiple times, you search, take one of the titles of my blog posts, and I put it into Google and I searched for it, and it didn't show up. When I search on DuckDuckGo or Bing or another type of search engine that is Google's competitor, my blog post shows up first. It is word for word exactly what I searched for. But in Google, I'll go for pages and pages and pages, and I still won't see it. That's the level of censorship that's coming up. But you know what I will see? I'll see politically left ideas of the concept that I may have touched on. It's very politically skewed, and that could be for multiple reasons. A lot of people try to say, "Oh, Google is not, they don't censor certain websites, or they don't rank certain websites over others, or they're not politically biased." And I disagree. I think that there's some ways that you can get around it, but fundamentally, I think that, it's all the same thing. So, I've been learning about that all summer, really. I've taken a lot of time to research these things. And the other thing I will say about social media that's been difficult for me is like, I've been working on, recovering from internet addiction, using internet in very mindless ways that are self-destructive, that are destructive to my mental health. And, things like Twitter and Instagram, they're designed to keep you addicted. And I feel that. And so I am very careful about jumping in headfirst into platforms that might take me off track. I'm okay with using the platforms, but I want to use them mindfully. Even with my YouTube, I have a blocker, like something that, I can use to block my feed. So when I log into YouTube, I don't see anything. I just see a blank page. I don't see what YouTube wants to feed me or what they suggest to me based on what they think I might like. I just see a blank page. And that's what I do for most of my social media accounts these days, because I don't want to see shit. It's all trash. I mean, not all of it's trash, but it's trash pretty much. It's stuff. And I mean that to say that it's things that I didn't ask for. It's things that I don't need. And so it needs to stay over there. When I need it, I can search for it and I can find it, and I'll look at what they want to give me and I'll sort through that. But I don't want you to feed me things that I didn't consent to. That's my thing, generally speaking, So that's how I'm navigating it. And I'm still figuring it out, but I am grateful that I've been able to incrementally grow my blog. From the time that I posted back in April to now, I've more than doubled my subscriber count for my blog, and I have some paid subscribers who I'm very grateful for. They give me a lot of hope. And on that note, I want to say that, navigating as an outspoken woman about these issues, I realize that there is a need for me to really be able to support myself financially through this work that I do. And that's a big reason why I love having a subscriber-based blog, is because, yes, you can subscribe for free, but if for those who can, they can also become a paying subscriber and gain access to more exclusive content or more lengthy versions of the posts that they're able to see for free. And I never even I never even thought about doing that, and that's why I in some way I'm grateful that I was canceled, because it brought me down this path to see what's possible for me and to see that I can create an income stream from the work that I do online that really I've been doing for many years for free. And I didn't have any way to, I didn't know how to monetize my work. I wasn't thinking about that. I've always created from my heart, and it's always just been something that came naturally to me. And now there's finally a way that people can support me, and in doing this. And that's so important to me, because speaking out about these issues is very risky. I don't know, most people don't really understand how violent trans activists can be. Okay? And I'm not saying all of them are violent, but I am saying that the violent ones show out, okay, at, protests, at every protest that women have about, women who are getting raped by male inmates in jail, and, women who want to preserve our safe spaces that were originally for us, and preserve what the word woman actually means in law. It's not like a foreign concept. It's just there are legal repercussions for this bullshit that are going on. So, they'll come and disrupt the peaceful protests. They'll start causing chaos, and they'll be physically violent towards women who share the same thoughts and beliefs as me. And so when I think about putting myself out there and becoming more visible and growing my platform and growing my audience, I also think about that, because the spaces, the cities where I live, currently, I mean, I travel a lot, but where I'm based, and where the cities where I travel to are, spaces where these things are happening, and where this sort of violence against women is condoned, and where women are getting doxxed for speaking out. You know what I'm saying? I always think about getting doxxed online because some trans activists decide they didn't like what I said. Okay, I'm not making this shit up. I'm not making this shit up. You can look this up. There have been plenty of women who have spoken out or made parodies about this issue within the past 2-3 years, who have been doxxed, who have been punched in the face, who have been mobbed at speaking engagements where they've been outspoken, who have been threatened, who have received death threats, who have received rape threats. I mean, this is happening, y'all. There's a war against women. And so when I think about becoming more visible, I think about increased risk of violence. I think about lack of access to economic opportunity due to cancel culture, because many of us know that cancel culture, a big piece of the violence is structural. You are barred from opportunities. First of all, they cancel you by firing you from your job. That's the most common story you hear. They fire you from your job for saying something or having some sort of thought or belief, or just saying a statement that goes against the extreme leftist status quo. They fire you. They and happily, and they don't believe that you deserve a livelihood. They'd rather see you starve. That's the level of insanity. That's the level of and these are the be kind. We're liberal and we care about the oppressed, but you're creating oppression. And it's funny because I'm getting off on a tangent right now, but it's funny because a lot of oppressed people, really poor, the people that they say that they're campaigning for, poor working class. I mean, people like me, really, but working class. I don't like to call myself poor, y'all, but working class, Black, or just poor folks, whatever, LGB, whatever. If you just say the wrong thing, automatically you're like an oppressive person. No matter what your socioeconomic status is, you're now an oppressor, and you don't deserve to live. You don't deserve to eat. You don't deserve to have anything in your life. And they're very brutal. And so I don't want to. It's very two-faced. But this movement, the trans and queer movements are not. They're very regressive, and they're very regressive, and very authoritarian, and very extreme, and very misogynistic. I mean, racist. I mean, everything. I mean, homophobic. I mean, they're everything. So I think about this, and I think about how, like, losing access to economic opportunity, having people not, in the mainstream, I'm talking about mainstream. If I become visible, that means that I don't have access to those sorts of opportunities. Not that necessarily I'm trying to get them, but even as an artist, if I wanted to apply for grants, that's not something that's as accessible as someone who is visibly speaking about these issues. It's a whole capitalist meltdown that's happening here that is threatening people's livelihoods and threatening people's access to resources, basic resources, for believing something, questioning something politically. So I think about those things. I think about how I navigate through the world. Let me tell y'all something. There's already in my hometown somebody who has expressed such hatred towards me. And she is a waitress at what used to be my favorite restaurant. It's a natural foods restaurant, very nice restaurant. They have nice food, healthy food. She's been a waitress there for a long time. She expressed such hatred towards me for speaking up for women last spring on my Instagram that I don't go to that restaurant anymore. And this is only one person. Whenever she sees me around town, she her whole face changes, And it's funny because I'm always smiling when I see her. Like, I'm always like laughing, talking to someone. I'm always like jovial. And she just looks so upset. That's one person. Imagine if a whole bunch of people knew who I was. And I'm very easy to spot, So I think about that and how it can impact my life. But the thing is, if I have money to cushion that blow, it really helps, because then I have choice of where I go, how I move through life. I can go to a safer space if I need to. I can move to a safer space. I'm not stuck and so vulnerable. We all know that money provides a lot of cushion for things in life. And so me being someone who is low income and talking about these issues, it's like I need for there to be a balance in order for this to really pan out well for me. The balance for me is I need for the people who support me, like who really support me, I need for them to actually show up and support me so that I can continue to do this, continue to share my voice, continue to write about these issues, continue to inform and educate and inspire. So I can continue to be myself. And, there needs to be an exchange there. So that is why having a monetized blog has been so important to me, and why it's so important for me to have an audience that really actually supports my work. Is because now it feels like there's so much on the line for me. And the people who really appreciate my work have a way to support me. And if I'm going to continue doing this, then I feel like I can't do it without that support. And so for those of y'all who do support me and who want to support me, please consider becoming a paid subscriber. I've written books. I just finished a short book, a short story. And I have more to offer and so much more that I'm planning to come out with my writing and with other things related to wellness, related to my other crafts like dance that I want to share on my platform. And I wanted to invite you to support me through my blog. So check out the link in the description, subscribe to my blog, consider becoming a paid subscriber. If you can't at the moment and you just want to feel it out, or you're not financially able to at the moment, please become a free subscriber and share my work with your networks. Share my work with people who you think that it will benefit, people who you think it'll resonate with. Share it on your social media if you're brave enough. And I feel like that is a huge support for me too. I also love receiving comments, like receiving supportive comments or receiving insightful comments where people can, reflect back to me with what I've shared and share their own experiences. Those things are supportive to me too, on just an emotional, like moral support level. So I appreciate that too. But right now, that's really what I'm working on. And I just wanted to share that with y'all because, Also, I've been in Philly. Today's my last day in Philly. I've been in Philly all summer. I've been cat sitting. And y'all, I almost got kidnapped on Sunday. And I wrote about that on my blog. I write based on inspiration, but I almost got, my Uber driver tried to kidnap me and I had to get on the phone with the authorities. Low key in the back seat when I was in the car, and it was scary as fuck. And I'm still coming to about that. It was so scary, but it's just stuff like this. It is funny because I took the Uber because I'm in a risky area and I didn't want to go and expose myself by taking public transportation and walking all over the road and shit. So I took an Uber. I'm like, oh, it's self-care Sunday and I'm gonna. But, this is there's already this base level of vulnerability that I face as a woman. And so there's a different type of vulnerability that's added to that when you consider what kinds of things come out of my mouth, And so I appreciate your support. I appreciate your support. Thank you for your support. I love y'all. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing y'all on the other side. I have some things coming up, so I'll be updating here and there, and I'll talk to y'all later. All right, thank you. Peace.